Hi, Beetle Eddie here. Today, I want to talk about the Marx Brothers. I want to rank the Marx Brothers movies. And the Marx Brothers made 13 movies. So I'm going to rank them from worst to best, in my opinion, of course. Um, and it's interesting because most people would, what I say is number 13, most people would say is number 12. And what I say is number 12, most people would say is, not most people, but some people would say is number 13. So they switched, people have switched around what I think, but I want to explain why I did it the way I did it. Now, there's no such a thing as a bad Marx Brother movie. The Marx Brothers have been around since 1929. They've been making movies, and they made movies until 1949. For 20 years, they made movies and made 13 movies. So I have for number 13, first of all, I want to say, what is a Marx Brother movie? A Marx Brother movie is a movie that's made specifically for the Marx Brothers. The jokes, the storyline, everything that's involved, is even the songs. Groucho sang lots of songs in his movies. All of these elements is made specifically for the Marx Brothers. So the reason I'm saying my number 13 is a movie that they made in 1938. They had a deal with Zeppo. There's four Marx Brothers. There were four Marx Brothers. Groucho, Harpo, Chico, some call him Chico, but his name is really Chico. His name is Chico because he used to chase the chicks, the women. He used to like women. Chico would be like, like a Spanish, Italian kind of a name. Chico. But his name is not Chico. His name is Chico. Of course, he chased the chicks. He chased the women. Harpo really chased the women in the movies, but in real life, Chico was a big ladies' man. He chased the chicks. And then there's Zeppo. Zeppo was sort of the straight man of the comedy team. He had three crazy people: Groucho, Harpo, and Chico. And then you had Zeppo. Zeppo was a quiet, straight man. And Zeppo was around for the first 5 movies when they were at Paramount. When Zeppo left, in 1938, he had formed an agency where he got people jobs in show business. And he made a deal for the Marx Brothers to make this movie. Now, this movie was a Broadway show. It had nothing to do with Marx Brothers. It wasn't a bad movie. It was a good movie, but it had nothing to do with the Marx Brothers. And that's why I say, what is a Marx Brother movie? So I'm going to say my number 13 was a movie called Room Service. It was a Broadway show in 1937 with totally different people in mind. But then they had a deal with the Marx Brothers, Groucho, Harpo, and Chico to do the movie. And the movie was done. And it's a very good movie. It's a good movie. It's funny. But it's not. I've said it's not a Marx Brother movie because it's not made for the Marx Brothers, with the Marx Brothers in mind. So that's why I have it at number 13. Some people have that at number 12, and then number 12 is what I'm going to say next. Their number 13 is my number 12. Okay, My number 12 is the last movie they ever made, it was made in 1949, called Love Happy. Now, why do I put it so low? First of all, it's basically a Harpo movie. It's all about Harpo. Groucho's in it very little. He's sort of the narrator of the film, and he only comes in about 15 minutes in the end of the movie to be with the other brothers. Chico's in it. He's in it quite. He has a very nice role in it, but it's more or less it's totally a Harpo movie. It's a good movie. It's not bad. But if Harpo was to make it by himself, there wouldn't be much of a difference. There's a reason why they came together again to make this movie. Chico was a big gambler. And he lost a lot of money in his gambling. So the other brothers decided this is one of the two movies that they decided to come back to actually help Chico, raise him some money to pay for his gambling expenses, unfortunately. But Love Happy is a good movie. Most people have this as their worst movie, with Room Service being the next worst. So I just have it, switched around for the reasons I told you. So that was number 12. Number 11. So before I discuss the next couple of movies, I wanted to explain to you. After the Marx Brothers left Paramount, the four Marx Brothers, and Zeppo left, so they were out of work. And there was a man, Irving Throsberg, at MGM that was friendly with Chico. I think they gambled together. I don't know. But he was friendly with Chico. And he was a genius. He made lots of movies for MGM. So he hired the Marx Brothers. And they made, two of their best movies with Forsberg. Night, the Opera, and the Day of the Races. I'll give you my numbering when it comes to it. But Louis Mayer didn't like the Marx Brothers. He wanted to destroy their career. So, and after Forsberg died, Louis B. Mayer put them in very, very mediocre movies. It was funny, but it wasn't classic. It wasn't a classic Marx Brothers movie. And the three, I'm gonna go to my what I feel is the worst of the three, in my opinion. In 1940, number 11, Go West. Sort of like a Western. It's a little bit funny. It's okay. It's nothing bad about it. But it's not great. It's not a great movie. It's maybe like a B-rated movie. It was made for the Marx Brothers. It had, Harpo playing the harp. It had Groucho's with his jokes and all that. It was okay, but nothing great. That's number 11. Number 10 was the last movie they made for MGM before they retired. The Big Store. Now, some people have The Big Store as being worse than Go West. Go West being, a little better. But I feel the big store is a little better than Go West. Um, I like the comedy better. I like the way the brothers are interacting with each other. Harpo and Chico playing. There's a nice piano segment there, and it's a nice movie. But again, nothing great. It's not one of the classics. The first movie they made for MGM after Thursburg died is my next movie. The number 9, At the Circus. What makes this movie probably the high point of this movie is Groucho singing Lydia the Tattooed Lady. But again, it's a mediocre movie. It's nothing great, nothing spectacular. But like I said, Louis B. Mayer, for some reason, he wanted to destroy the Marx Brothers. That's what he did. Okay, my next movie, number 8. And this is why I told you that the Marx Brothers got together 1 or 2 times. The last time was Love Happy, to help Chico with his gambling debts. So 1946, years after the MGM movies, they made a movie basically to help Chico, but it was a pretty good one though. It's a pretty good one. It's called A Night in Casablanca. They're older, but it's funny. It's a funny movie. Is it a class? Is it one of the classics? I don't know. It's getting more classic. It's getting more classic. Okay, so that was number 8. Number 7. I'm going into the Paramount years a little bit for a while with the 4 Marx Brothers. Number 7, I'm going to say it was their first movie they ever made. The Coconuts. That movie was made in 1929. It was a good movie. It was funny. But, not as funny as the ones that I'm going to talk about after this. But it was good. There's a special routine they do called wire duck between Groucho and Chico. Chico says, they say, here's a peninsula and here's a wire duck leading over to the mainland. And Chico says, wire duck, wire no chicken. It's a funny routine. It was a good movie. Number 6, Monkey Business, made in 1931. Now, the Coconuts was made in New Jersey. And then there's another movie they also made in New Jersey that I'll talk about soon. But Monkey Business was the first movie that they went to Los Angeles, California to make. Very good movie. Very funny. All 4 Marx Brothers. Very, very, very funny movie. Okay, number 5, Horse Feathers. Also the 4 Marx Brothers. Made in 1932. That was a football movie. And Zeppo was playing Groucho's son. Groucho played a college professor, Professor Wagstaff. He had interesting songs in that movie. Very funny movie. Number 4. Also with the 4 Marx Brothers. Animal Crackers, 1930. Why do I put this so low? I put this so low because this is where Groucho is Captain Spaulding. Now, there's a famous song. So this is Hooray for Captain Spaulding, which was sort of like Groucho's theme song. And yeah, it's a great movie, a very funny movie. It's probably the least watched of all the movies because they lost the print for many, many years. Then they discovered they have it and it's available. Very funny movie. Okay, now I'm gonna talk about the top 3 movies, in my opinion. People usually put this as number 2. But I'm gonna put this as number 3. As I told you earlier, Irving Thornburg made a deal with the Marx brothers to be at MGM. And he made this movie. This is the movie he made with them. He made 2 movies with them. So number 3, I have A Night at the Opera. You're going to say, why is that not number 1 or even number 2? I'll tell you why in a minute. It has classic scenes. The most classic is probably when they're in the stateroom. There's a small little stateroom, and 1,000 people come into this little room, and then they open the door and they all fall down. That's probably the most famous scene. Many people say this is their best movie. I'm saying, one second.